One of the great misconceptions of human existence is that there is an external world out here, and that there is a separate internal world confined to my organism, and that these two worlds are cleaved and delineated by my skin, my largest organ. So the easiest way to upend this understanding of the world is with sound, because here you are, you're listening to my voice, hopefully. But the movement of my lips is not actually creating sound. It's creating waves that are moving through the air like this, like a hydraulic wave or an electromagnetic wave, or in this case, a sonic wave. And there's an amplitude to it that determines its volume or loudness, and that there's a frequency that determines its pitch and its timbre and other characteristics. And that wave is being carried through the air, and it hits your outer ear and then moves into your inner ear and vibrates your eardrum. And from there, that vibration is sent to these tiny little bones in your ear. I think the tiniest bones in your body, the anvil, the hammer, and the stirrup. And these are like little amplifiers. They amplify those vibrations even more, and it moves into your inner ear to your cochlea, and that's filled with fluid, and that fluid vibrates and is then connected with 25,000 some odd sensory neurons that then transmute those vibrations into electrical signals, and those impulses are shot down the auditory nerve into your brain, which then decodes it as sound. And then, of course, your conscious mind has to get in on the action and assign it some sort of valence and salience, and maybe what I'm saying is triggering you. So then you have a endocrine response where your HPA axis is like sending you pulses of cortisol and epinephrine, or maybe what I'm saying is soothing you, and you have a completely different biochemical and neurotransmitter response. But the point is that sound is a neurological phenomenon. It doesn't exist out here in some separate external world. It exists in here as a product of your brain and as a projection of consciousness. So don't you see, there is no difference between the external world and the internal world. The external world is internal, and of course you are in the external world. Really what it is that phenomenon, sound in this particular case, can't exist without a listener, without someone to hear it. And so all phenomenon requires a participant. And so what we can really see the world as is that we are a petal on the same flower as everything that happens. We are not separate from it. We are a participant in it. We are interwoven into this integrated web of complete mutual interdependence. Now you might ask, like, well, why is this even important in my life? Like, why are you wasting my time? Well, our obsession with understanding the world, the external world, as separate, informs a propensity that is very, very detrimental to human psychology. So when we see the world as external, we then leverage our five senses to begin to label everything in the foreground of that perception. So that starts very innocuously. There's a tree, there's a rock, there's a car, but then it gets quite less innocent. Like there's someone with a different skin color or a different sexual orientation, or there's someone who has a more exalted role in society, or a nicer car or a bigger house. And inherent to that labeling of this separate external world is a self-labeling. And that self-labeling forms the foundation of the ego, the symbol that we give ourselves that is based on a substrate of what we have, what we're doing, our role in society, our job title, what other people think of us. And it is that confusion with our own identity that is the source of a tremendous amount of suffering, or what I might call dissatisfaction, or what the Buddha called dukkha. The first of the Great Noble Truths is that the default mode for humans in this constant feeling of separateness is dissatisfaction. So when we wake up, like the Buddha did, Bud is to awaken, we actually transform our consciousness from the feeling of being separate to the feeling of being completely connected in an interwoven web of life that is 100% mutually interdependent. And this transformation is a great relief because we stop comparing, we stop feeling separate, and we feel a greater source of joy and contentment because we don't fear anything anymore. We don't fear judgment, failure, and even fear success. We feel as part of the universe. In fact, we embrace a state of being in which the universe is experiencing itself through our human organism at this one little period in time, that we are just a reflection of nature's delegated adaptability. That it's not to say that we are not distinct from everything around us, but we're not disjointed from it. We are part of it. And this sense of deep connection can lead to a life of much greater contentment, serenity, and happiness.